Welcome to the Scots Sports Show. I'm Drew Patrick alongside George Tubby Schmidt, and we'll have a lot of good interviews for you, but we're going to start this show, how we start most shows, with the Scots of the Week. Let's start on the women's side. The female Scot of the Week is Emma Sullivan, who led a trio of fighting Scots that finished in the top 50 on Saturday morning. Sullivan crossed the finish line in 9th place with a time of 18:25.08. The race covered 5,000 meters at the EP Tom Sawyer State Park with 367 runners competing in the women's blue race.
The male Scot of the Week is football's Jake Sisson, who passed for 5 touchdowns, ran for 1, and caught 1 to lead Edinburgh to an impressive 62-14 win at Clarion on Saturday. Sisson ended the day completing 22 of 37 passes for 357 yards, moving into 7th place career passing yards with 3,837 yards. He also moved into 9th place in the career total offense with 4,165 yards. Congratulations to Jake Sisson, your male Scot Athlete of the Week.
So we will start with talking about football right after the break. This is the Scots Sports Show. Don't go anywhere.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
So good to see you guys. So, what's up?
Oh, we finally bought a place.
Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on...
Was it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Welcome back to the Scots Sports Show. We'll now talk football here as we're joined with the defensive line coach, Coach Collin Neely. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
So let's start by talking about last week. Boy, it's fun to be on one of those games. Just a dominant performance, start to finish. What did you see from your unit from the line?
Just we got our energy back. I thought we were playing very physical up front. I know a week ago that's one of the things that we needed to get back was the physicality of the game, and thought we brought that and helped that we had our DBs locking their receivers down, so we got to have some fun up front.
And in a game like that, when you're coaching a game like that, and you get to see your younger players come in and be successful. We saw you jumping and hopping on the sideline. What is it like to be able to see younger players do so well?
You always want to see improvement, and some of the younger guys don't get as much as the reps as the older guys. The guys are in it too deep. A guy like Ethan Uppercoat comes in the game and he gets 2 sacks. That I'm more happy for him than anybody because he doesn't really get the same amount of work. But obviously you can see that he's improving and his game is getting better and he's progressing.
Now you have this attitude from the linebackers back. They seem like a bunch of dogs, but up front with the big guys, I'm a big guy, and I love big guys in action. But your group, aside from being dogs, you guys look like you're just bloodthirsty pack of wolves down there, like just nonstop. How do you maintain that sense of energy for them?
We have to practice like that, and that's one thing. We practice like that, and we have in our meeting room, we actually close the door and turn up the temperature. We call it the jungle in there. So we keep it hot in there. We never get satisfied. We're always hungry. And that's why they're a bloodthirsty pack of wolves at times. And we just got to keep maintaining and keep getting better as the season progresses.
One of the standouts on the defensive line this season has been Vic Hudson, who came up from the linebacker spot. Having a speed rusher like Vic is, what does that add to the line as a whole?
Vic's speed is great, but one thing about Vic is the use of his hands and how coachable he is. Everything I ask him to do, he gets it done. I think that's why he's had success, and I think that's why he's going to have greater success as the season goes on. He works at improving himself. He's in my office every day wanting to get extra film, asking me what he can do better and things like that. So I think just his hunger and his attention to detail are what takes him to the next level.
Now, is that type of example, is that filtering down to some of your, because this is a young team. You have a lot of freshmen, a lot of sophomores. Is that type of example kind of filtering down to those kids as well?
Yeah, I think it is. Coach Lustig does a great job of explaining to the seniors and the leaders on our team that it's your team. So you need to, the coaches obviously are coaching everybody, but you older guys need to coach the younger guys also. And I think that's rubbing off right now. That's why we're off to a pretty good start. And
yeah, you mentioned that start. Since this is your first year here, what have you seen in the change of the confidence and the culture of Edinboro football? They were 0-11 last year, and coming into this year and being so successful at the start of this year.
I think now the attitude is we expect to win. I think even the first game, we won, and we were kind of iffy about it. In the second game, it's kind of like we want to win, but now the expectation is to win, and I think that has changed. And I think Coach Lustig and the rest of the staff is their attitude in the coach's room, in the locker room, and on the playing field, even in the staff room while we're having our meetings. It's just really focused on winning. And obviously, to win, you need attention to detail, and I think that's our biggest message so far.
Yeah, I think we've seen that after the IUP game especially. I mean, to us as broadcasters, you guys didn't seem like you were all that far behind, but just looking at the guys' faces after the loss, you can tell that one really stuck. I mean, like they hated it. I mean, even though from like a public standpoint, we were kind of like, well, it's expected they're IUP, they're number 9, but it was like Edinboro expected to win that game coming in.
Obviously, IUP is a great football team, and honestly, if we played them again, we would think we would win, no matter what happened a couple weeks ago. That's our confidence, and we just lost a step right there. We weren't as focused as we needed to be. Hopefully, things work out that we get to see IUP later down the line, or maybe another tough team like that, and we can actually step up this time around.
So this week, it's a big week. It's homecoming. So in this week of coaching, what do you have to do to control the emotions? This is homecoming. This is going to be a big week for the team.
I think we have to do the same things that we've been doing. We can't change a thing. Obviously, we're going to mention to them about the distractions of homecoming and things that come with that, but we need to stick to the same things we've been doing, coach every single play, lead our guys the way they're supposed to be led, and study the film and prepare like we always been doing. It's just another game to us, really. We're just trying to find win number 1 at this point.
Coach, coming from a big school like Michigan State, being a Michigan State alum, what's one of your favorite memories playing like a big homecoming game?
There's so many memories about playing at Michigan State and things like that. But I remember my sophomore year, I didn't play much, but just the speeches that were given by the alumni that came back telling me how much it meant to them to see us doing well that year. I think we finished 9-4, and just hearing them and vocally explain to us how excited they are to see Michigan State football, back to the forefront and back to doing the things that you're supposed to do. And I think our alumni can come back this week and be very proud of our football team and very excited for the future.
Yeah, and you have the unique situation of being a former player. So what do you bring from your playing days into coaching?
I just try to bring an attitude, and I try to motivate the guys and just give them my life experiences because, especially with the defensive line, I've been in the trenches. I understand some of the issues that you may be having, and sometimes when you're tired and somebody's leaning on you all day, I understand that. So, when I'm telling them stories, they can understand that it's a first-hand story, and I'm not messing around, and I understand exactly what I want from them, exactly what I expected from them, because my coach once upon a time expected it from me.
And so this week, not only is it homecoming, but it's a game against Gannon, the local rival, one of the local rivals here. So what is the game plan for the defensive line in this matchup?
Obviously, I coaching at East Stroudsburg. I've had some experience playing against Gannon. Well-coached football team, very good offensive line, skilled running backs, and they also have a skilled quarterback who is just extremely fast. They also have a backup quarterback who's identical to the starter. So they bring some difficulties to us as a defensive team and as a defensive staff, but we're going to do the things we always do, and that's run and hit, and we're going to be physical and then let the chips fall where they may, and hopefully we come out on top.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys for having me again.
And the Scots Sports Show will roll along right after this. Don't go anywhere.
To compete for a championship in stadiums full with cheering fans and families. To give back. To say thank you for your support. To learn, grow, and prepare for the future, ask any NCAA student-athlete what they want, and this is what they'll tell you. Ask these student-athletes, and they'll say with pride, I chose Division II.
The NCAA Division II student-athlete experience goes beyond the classrooms and playing fields. It means a commitment to service and community, helping organizations like the Make-A-Wish Foundation by raising money to help grant the wishes of children with life-threatening medical conditions. Kids like Jacob.
Some student-athletes gave of their time and their energy to raise the money.
It was fun to meet Jeff Gordon.
NCAA Division II, training student-athletes for lifelong achievement.
Welcome back to the Scots Sports Show. We'll now continue to talk football as we're joined by Trey, Staunch, and Zuril Hendrick. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So this past week, oh boy, does it feel good to be on one of those wins.
Yeah, definitely. It's a big change since last year.
So going into it, that game, what did you see? What worked for you guys?
I think just having a great week of practice. You know, last week before IUP, we didn't have a great week, Coach said. And this week we just wanted to come in, stay focused, and I think it definitely paid off on Saturday.
Exactly.
And on the defensive side, you had a pick six. That must have felt fantastic for you.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, coach called the play, I just did my job, and ball just came right to me.
So, I mean, you were wearing number 5 that game. Is that going to be a permanent change because of how good you played? Or are you going to go back to 21?
Sadly, it won't be a permanent change. I'm going back to 21 this week.
Yeah. Because you were like, on that return, you seriously were like breaking some ankles. I seen you juke at least 3 guys straight out of their socks before you made it into the end zone. What goes through your head like once you get the ball like that? Is it just like I'm going to the house, or
get the ball? It's like just don't go down and score, basically.
Now, Trey, you were here last year with that same team beating you on your homecoming. Was it kind of a sweet feeling to beat them on their homecoming?
It's a very good feeling. You know, you get going last year since we just had a rough year. I mean, this year just getting new coaches and just getting coached a lot better than we did. And now you can see like we're just ready to go. And I think Saturday was just a big plus for us. You know, we got them back big time. You know, with a big blowout. I think it just builds our confidence going into this week too.
You talked about preparation before. You didn't have as good preparation against IUP, better preparation against Clarion. Going into homecoming this weekend, how do you shut all of that out and just prepare for
Gannon? Coach talks to us about distractions, and homecoming's just a big distraction for us. But you just have to keep your eye on what you're supposed to do your job, stay in meetings, stay focused, and the outcome will come on Saturday.
And this week you face Gannon. So what is the game plan for Gannon? Let's start on the defensive side.
Game for Gannon, well, they're pretty solid on offense. They got 2 pretty solid running backs, so we're trying to stop the run this week and focus more on that.
And then for the offense?
Offensively, they just run a 3-3 stack. Nothing we haven't seen before. Definitely going to throw the ball a lot more since Sisson's definitely having a tremendous year at the start of his season. So we want to keep doing that. I think we're just going to have to take it to him like we usually do.
And you actually have had a unique career. You came in here not planning to be an offensive lineman, was moved to tight end, and now to offensive lineman. What has that whole process been like for you?
It's definitely different. Coming out of high school, I was getting recruited as a tight end, coming as a tight end, and then 2 weeks before the season, you're getting switched to O-lineman. It's definitely a big change. You're facing a lot bigger guys every play. Not touching the ball every play is a little different, but I have great coaches that are just helping me out, getting me used to the position. I think it's working out pretty well for us.
And how important really is that to be able to be flexible and be versatile?
It's a big help. Coach always says, you have your athleticism that some O-linemen wish they had. So, I'm just trying to take advantage of it and using it pretty well right now.
And same thing, versatile. So you're also on the kick team. What is you guys have been outstanding special teams this year. What has been the key to that?
Well, coach has always said stay focused and like do your job basically. So for us, it is to stay in your block, block the one guy you have, and then if you do that, then it's going to be broken out for a touchdown, basically like that.
And
yeah, no, you had mentioned before about how Jake's throwing the ball, and we've talked a lot about that, where he's gone from Jake the gunslinger, kind of just winging it everywhere, to now he's more like Jake the sniper, and he's like pinpointing his targets. Is that kind of like a fun transition for you guys that have worked with him?
I think it is, yeah. I think bringing in Coach Limbach for us definitely helped him like exceed what he's doing now. You know, he's reading coverages a lot better now. He's making great decisions with the ball. And I think you can definitely tell his numbers show that he's doing very well this year.
And defensively, how do you feel like your piece being set up into the defensive package? How do you feel like your role has kind of grown a little bit this season?
Well, this season, I mean, with Coach Lefty coming in and adding new entries, new entries onto our defensive staff, I mean, just like helped us greatly to prepare. Like we've become smart football players from that, and then Jake off the side just working out, just doing what he does, actually helps us a lot to be more comfortable on defense and just play and have fun.
You know, and something that both Tubby and I have noticed this year is, you know, you guys have a very young team, but there's not a lot of the behavioral penalties. There's not a lot of unsportsmanlike conduct. Has that been something that coached, or do you just feel like you're a group of guys that know what you want?
I think it's definitely both. Coach Lustig definitely emphasized, you know, we can't beat ourselves, and one of those ways is getting personal foul penalties. And there's also consequences on Sundays, which not all of us like to have, so we kind of keep that in the back of our mind. I think it's definitely us getting coached better and also putting our eye on the prize.
Yeah, because we've seen that. A big story this week has been Odell Beckham and his attitude and getting a lot of stupid penalties for his team. Last week when you guys played Clarion, it was at their homecoming. You were up by so much, and towards the end of the game, they started to get really desperate and really chippy. Can you talk about like how that process, you know, they start running their mouth or doing whatever it is they're doing? How do you guys try to blank that out and just rise above, I guess?
Well, coaches always tell us, like, if it's something like that, if the guy's talking smack to you, just laugh at him, walk away, just be the bigger person, basically.
So kind of point at the scoreboard. So look at what that score is.
Yeah, pretty much it. Yeah.
Well, thank you guys both for joining us here on the Scott Sports Show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
And the Scott Sports Show will roll along right after this. Don't go anywhere.
My experience at Perico has been so great. I feel like it's really my time for school now. I tried going back to school when I first graduated from high school. I just wasn't ready.
It's closer to home. It's very much more affordable than the other colleges in the city. When I finished my degree here at Perico, it would provide me with higher pay. I can actually grow more in my company than I would if I wasn't going to school.
Perico College, affordable, career-ready education.
We dig deep.
We overcome obstacles.
We come together.
We prepare.
We hit the ground running.
And we achieve our goals.
We train hard.
And we compete even harder.
We reach new heights.
We win.
And at Edinburgh University, we create champions on and off the field.
Welcome back to the Scott Sports Show. Now let's switch gears and talk some volleyball action as we are joined by volleyball head coach Missy Sobeleski. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So this team, since that trip to Colorado, has just been on an absolute tear, 11-game winning streak. Who do you attest that to? Is it your coaching or is it the team?
You know, there's no easy answer for that. It's just a lot of hard work that the girls put in, and just the passion for the sport, and love playing it, and they love training, and they love the competition. They like a challenge too. So if you're going to challenge them, then they're probably going to really pick up their game.
Speaking of challenge, this last game that they played, it was a challenge, fighting back from being down 2-0. What do you have to say about the resilience of the girls on the team?
You know, they just showed that that no matter what's happening, the way that the game is going, you can always continue to try to control it and try to turn it your way. The only thing I kept saying to them is, hey, we just gotta focus on us, our side of the court. Are we having fun and are we enjoying ourselves? And you know, they answer those questions in their head, and you know, and like I said, it's just one point at a time, one ball at a time. And you know, we were down, and Jimmy and I were like, well, let's see what happens in game 3. And you know, there's no magic fix. It was just a matter of the girls getting it together.
Now, does that build a little bit more confidence now coming into the home stretch of the conference play here?
Yeah, it's always exciting. You always get a little bit more energy when you're playing at home. So the girls are excited. We have one more road trip for this coming weekend, and then next week we're home. And you know, we still got to get through this weekend. So we really don't consider ourselves home yet. So we've got 2 battles with Cal and Seton Hill that are going to be very, very challenging. We thought Seton Hill was, or we thought that Shippensburg was challenging, and these 2 teams are going to be just as tough.
Yeah, what challenges does a road trip where you guys have been on the road for the last couple of games and continuing that? What are the challenges that come with that?
You know, just playing in a different venue. That's actually kind of nice why we have another good reason why we do have the Dome, because every once in a while we'll have to practice over there and it's a different venue, different area. You're not used to your home court. So you kind of get, it's just that not being at home, not having the stands full with your fans and stuff. So plus the traveling and the academics part of it makes it tough for the girls.
And I mean, I want to actually talk about the academic side of things, because a lot of times we get stuck on just the on the field, on the court type talk. So what are your goals for your team academically?
Well, you know, I can have goals for my team, but I can tell you what, my team individually have goals for themselves that are higher than what I'm going to set for them. They're very good kids, very good students. I think our GPA was like a 3.3 as a team. I've got girls that are a 4.0 that are still saying, oh, it's not good enough. I'm like, well, how do you go up from a 4.0? But, you know, so we just, our girls are very self-motivated, very disciplined, and academics is first. So. And
academics then goes to the practice, and what is your coaching style at practice? How is a Missy Sobeleski led practice?
Well, first thing I write down what they have to do ball control wise on the board. So they got about 30 minutes of ball control that they come in, they read the board, they get their stuff done. As soon as we're done, they pretty much know that I want to get through this. I got to get through practice, through what we're trying to our goals for the day. When we meet those goals, we're out of here. So it's no nonsense. We're getting things done. We try to be very disciplined. They try to be very disciplined, and I hold them accountable for being disciplined. So.
I mean, great job this season.
Thank you.
We wish you the very best going forward, and thank you so much for
still an early season. Thank you.
Still early in the season. The Scots Sports Show will carry on still early in our show. We'll go on right after this. Don't go anywhere.
NCAA Division II has much to cheer about, as nearly 100,000 student athletes compete with passion and pride. And I'm pleased to share the best news of all. Student athletes are outperforming the rest of the D2 student body in graduation rates. Just another reason why you'll hear us say with pride, I chose Division II. Learn more at d2sa.org.
Welcome back to the Scots Sports Show. We're continuing to talk volleyball here as we are joined with Victoria Seviero. Thanks for joining us here.
Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about this season. You guys have been on an absolute tear since Colorado, 11 straight games. What has been working?
I just think we consistently get better as we go with the season. At the beginning of the year, we obviously had a lot of freshmen come in that we had to get used to, and the rotations were different at the beginning of the season, and once we got into our normal rotation, and we only really have one new player in our starting lineup, and we just went back to how we were doing last season, which at the beginning of the season we were doing very well. And I think we just consistently keep pushing ourselves in practice and games, just mentally being more stable, and I just think we've been successful because of that.
The last game coming back, you guys were down 2 sets. Coming back, had to win all 3 sets in a row. Boom, boom, boom. How mentally did you prepare? Did you try to get everybody back into that game?
Well, our team, I think as a whole, we're pretty good at staying calm. After every game, even if we lose, we're like, all right, we're just going to come back and get this. And of course, being down 2 games was a little scary, but we knew we were capable of coming back and winning because we are a strong team. And the reason we lost mostly was because of the errors on our side. If we just controlled our side, we knew we could come out with the win.
Yeah, I talked with Coach earlier about, the away road that you're on the path, this away streak, and what are the challenges to that, to constantly being on the road?
Obviously, when we're home, it's more comfortable, but I think we go at every game, whether it's away or home, the same way. We don't underestimate any team, and we're just ready to come out and play regardless of where we're playing.
Coming in this week is homecoming week, and you guys are still training, still competing through homecoming week. Has that been like a challenge for you guys, or are you just all business, ready to roll?
Yeah, we're all business. We did get Monday off yesterday because we did come out with the big win on Saturday, but we're coming back tonight ready to play, and Wednesday and Thursday, and we can't wait to go and play Cal and Seton Hill this weekend.
And one of the big things for any student athlete is the student aspect of it. We talked with Coach about the academic side of things. How do you feel the academic side of your team and you specifically has gelled, especially with being on the road a lot?
Like in regards of us like helping each other through the academics?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, a lot of people, like for example, a couple people are in nursing, Shallon's in nursing, and a lot of our sophomores are now in nursing, so they're able to collaborate, I guess, with that. And we have a lot of psychology majors that are able to work together. Our assistant coach is a math professor, but our coaches just really stress the importance of academics, and we have study tables every time we go away for at least 3 hours. So it's just a big part of being a student athlete is we have to realize that student comes first.
And I want you to get a chance to brag about yourself a little bit. You've had such a great season since you've come back, and you were Athlete of the Week last week, you were PSAC Player of the Week. What did those accolades mean to you?
Obviously, it's great to get any accolade, but honestly, they're all because of my team that I can even get those. We have to have strong passes and a strong setter for me to get the ball, and I still have to do my job regardless to put it down. And like I said, it is a great achievement, but my team definitely got me there.
All right, well, I want to say thank you so much for joining us here.
Thank you.
The Scott Sports Show continues after this. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Scott Sports Show. We'll now talk about the other football, some soccer here on the Scott Sports Show. We're joined by head coach Gary Kagiavas. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me.
And so let's talk. This past week we had a tough loss to Westchester. Westchester, a very good team, a highly ranked team. What did, as my good friend Tubby here always says, you don't lose, you learn. So what can you learn going forward from that matchup?
Well, if you look at the statistics of the game, we outshot them. We had more shots on goal. It was a very, very high pressure game, and I thought we came through pretty good. Besides the one mistake that we made, I thought the game was pretty even. So, and the stats showed that. So we know we can compete with some of the best teams in the country, and it's as we discussed before. I think our depth is an issue. We only have 14, 15 kids.
Now, coming back off of that loss, does that kind of just add a little bit more like extra motivation going into your next match now?
Well,
coming off of that?
winning is, it's kind of weird. Winning is addictive. So you want to win all the time. It doesn't matter who you're playing. And I don't think there's any additional motivation. It's just that you play to win. And when you're competitive, you're going to do your best to win anyway. So it's always great to beat a ranked team. It's always great to be on the good side of every game. So,
you know, one thing that I've noticed from watching this team is really they're very well conditioned. I mean, you mentioned there's a lack of depth, so you have to be more conditioned on your team. I mean, what goes into getting your ladies so conditioned to last the whole game?
The preparation doesn't happen in the preseason. It actually goes year round. So when our season finishes in the fall, we give them a couple of weeks off. We start having a fitness and conditioning program that starts as soon as we get back, and then it goes from there. And then in the summertime, we send them out a workout program. So the kids that are motivated to be fit and be able to play will work through the program. The kids that are more concerned about other aspects of life sometimes don't come in that fit. But we're fortunate with the tradition that we have here in the last couple of years. We are able to maintain a certain level of fitness without too much effort from my behalf. It's self-motivated, self-driven by them.
Right, because your ladies set the standard, so then the incoming freshmen and sophomores will see what the upperclassmen are doing, and they're like, hey, I need to be like that if I'm going to be a part of this team.
That goes back about 6 to 8 years ago. We had a class come in, and they took up that responsibility in the springtime, and then they just passed it on from group to group, and now it just seems to be the standard now.
And Coach, this is the first time we've actually had the chance to talk to you since the big 200. What does that number mean to you, 200 wins as a coach?
You know, I would never have known unless sports information hadn't mentioned. Realistically, and I'm not just saying this, the next most important is the next game. And whatever is past is past. My job is to give the kids enough information to be able to be successful because of the amount of work that they put into playing. So it's a number, it's great. I'm very flattered that people are congratulating me about it. But the Mercyhurst is the next big thing, and then Bloomsburg right after that. So
yeah, and with that 200, that's all been here. You've been with this program since its inception. So through the years you've been here, what have you seen growth-wise for this team and the culture around this team?
Well, I'll give you a brief history. Well, it can't be brief. It's 21 years later. But what happened was when I first came in, President Pogue was more of academics, community service, those kind of things that were really important to him. Dr. Brown came in, changed a lot of the mentality of what he wanted from athletics, which created a different culture within all our programs. And now that culture has continued. And so I can tell you that academically, my team has always been really, really good. I heard you talking to Missy about the student athletes grades, and it's incredible the amount of student athletes we have above a 3.0 and above a 3.5, et cetera, et cetera. But I think within the competitive nature of what Dr. Brown created when he was here has now just carried through, and the type of kid we bring in is motivated to maintain good grades and do well on the field.
So let's talk about these games upcoming this week. Mercyhurst first. It's away, but not that far away. Just up the road a little bit.
Well, if you look at our schedule, we've had a lot of away games, and I mean really far, like Millersville and Shippensburg, and so it takes a toll on you. So the bus trips get heavy, and being away from home is very, very tedious, irrespective if it's Mercyhurst or not. So we are happy that it's not too far, but we are going to Mercyhurst's home field. They've been doing really, really well. They're a well-coached team. So I'm hoping we come out and be as competitive as we were against Westchester, and I believe if we just compete at that level, I think we can be successful, no matter who we're playing against. Bloomsburg provides a different kind of challenge. We went there last year. It was during our homecoming, and we lost. And so I think the girls are motivated for that reason to try and get back last year's result. Not that it makes a difference because it's a different season, but you always find ways to motivate yourself as a competitor. And I think that's because the kids have discussed that openly in front of me. So they want to revenge last year's loss at Bloomsburg.
And this week is homecoming. And that game, part of the homecoming festivities on Friday. So what do you have to do to control the emotions? It's homecoming. There's a lot of excitement around, but you got to keep your girls focused. How do you do that?
So you say excitement, I say distractions. So all our home games that we've had, and I'm saying all the meaningful ones, it has been a major, major distraction, and we've probably lost most of them. Different times, different teams, but I believe that our kids can put aside those distractions because of their motivation and because of we've given ourselves goals. So we're hoping to go 3-1. So we've broken down our season to 4 games increments. So we go 3-1, Westchester, Mercyhurst, Bloomsburg, Gannon, and then we want to go 3-1, Slippery Rock, East Stroudsburg, IUP, and Mansfield. So that's kind of our goal. We've already lost to Westchester, so we've got work to do for the next 3.
And I mean, so you're worried about the distraction of homecoming. I've had some coaches say that, homecoming is for the other students, but we want to focus on our job, our game. Are you that way, or do you say, yes, you can have fun, it's homecoming, but you have to be focused on the game?
Well, I want them to enjoy homecoming, so we're fortunate we play on Friday. And as being a college student, that's part of the fun part of being a college student. And so I wouldn't want to cheat them out of homecoming experience. The truth is we play on Tuesday against Gannon, so we've got to train on Sunday, got to train on Monday, and we got to play on Tuesday. So because there's no real time at any other time. So I'm watching game film. I'm preparing for Mercyhurst and Bloomsburg. Come Sunday, I'm preparing for Gannon, and it just doesn't stop, really. And again, as mentioned, they work hard to compete at that level. I need to work hard to make sure they get the correct information to compete against the teams we're playing against, and that's through watching film, getting scan reports, talking to some of my peers, and just understanding that the teams coming in are very, very good.
So it's kind of like one hand washes the other, where the girls are putting forth 110 effort on the field and off the field. So then, the coaching staff has to do that as well to help maintain that.
I better do my job. I better do my job for them. I mean, I understand. Right. I'm going to be here until the day I die, probably. I don't know. You never know anymore. But for them, they only get 4 years. And if they come in and they're training all year round and they're doing all the stuff I ask them to do, go to class, be good students, be good community service kids, fundraise, do all the things that come with playing a sport here at Edinburgh, then I better do my bit to help them be successful, because that's what they deserve. It's not necessarily, it's not a win-loss thing. It's just an obligation thing. You know what I mean? So.
Well, Coach, thank you so much for coming on the Scout Sports Show.
Hopefully next time I see you, we'll be better off.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And the show will roll along after this break. Don't go anywhere.
We dig deep.
We overcome obstacles.
We come together.
We prepare.
We hit the ground running.
And we achieve our goals.
We train hard.
And we compete even harder.
We reach new heights.
We win.
And at Edinburgh University, we create champions on and off the field.
That's all we have for you this week. But before we go, let's take a look at what is upcoming for Edinburgh sports this week. To stay up to date on all things Edinburgh athletics, go to GoFightingScots.com or head over to EdinburghNow.com. And Tubby, this week, it's homecoming. The big homecoming football game starts at 2 o'clock on Saturday, and that can be heard on 88.9 WFSC, also on Sports Fever and ESPN3.com.
Yep, should be an exciting time as we welcome in Gannon, our uptown rivals from Erie, who struggled a little bit, lost one to Mercyhurst. Edinboro now coming off that big win at Clarion at their homecoming. Let's see how they should fare.
So that does it. Have a great day and go Borough.